Are the parties to a short sale. And I'm going to go over these individually after I go over them briefly right now. The attorney, you have to have an attorney. Real estate agent or broker, you have to, I don't have to say that for every single one because you're going to need every one of these people. Real estate agent or broker, short sale processor and or negotiator, an investor or somebody to buy the house, the homeowner, obviously, and the lender. He's the one that's getting a haircut. He's the one that we're all after. And when you think about it, he's the one that can afford the loss the most. So I spend a lot of my time seeking ways to take advantage of lenders. Because out of all the parties in this transaction, the lender is the guy that can afford to take the hit the most. And I try to make sure that they take one every chance they get. Let's see. Okay, here we go. The attorney. He's a pretty important guy. Your attorney is pretty important. And there's a couple of reasons. One, I like them personally to have a title company because I want them to be in charge. Oh, my friend Jose's coming on, but he's a little tardy. Okay, Jose. He's the one that's in the title company's in charge of that closing. And I want the attorney to be in charge of the title company. It's in a perfect world, he's the one that underwrites for, not underwrites, but he's the one that owns the title company and makes all the decisions. Number two, I need that guy, that attorney, to have short sale experience. I don't mind training him if I think he's somebody we're going to be able to work with long term. Now, attorneys, I don't think they like to be trained. Most of the guys that I started out doing this with, they didn't know short sales because nobody did. I shared my experience with them. And that's what I mean about training him. I'm not going to sit down and say, okay, lesson one, this is what we're going to do because he knows what to do. But there are some little caveats that the attorney has to be familiar and comfortable with when they're doing short sales. So I like them to have a little bit of a veteran presence in the short sale realm. The next thing I like the attorney to be is I like them to have a consumer protection practice. I don't know, some of you guys in my judgment group, we will run into lawyers that are defending people from our attacks that are consumer protection lawyers. They're a pain in the tush. They understand how the court works and how the homeowner, in our case, can be protected. So there's going to be times in my short sales that I'm going to ask my attorney to make a notice of appearance, file notice of appearance to try to get the court to delay some things. It's important that they understand what we're asking them to do. The attorney that owns that title company, Jose, mute yourself, babe. The attorney that owns that title company has to be comfortable enough to go to court. They can't just be behind the desk lawyer. We don't want a guy that just sits behind a desk. We want someone that goes to court and they know what they're doing. So that's the specialty that I would like them to have. Available staff. I'd like the attorney to have stop a second. Hold on. Let me just turn this thing off. There you go. I'd like the attorney to have available staff so that if we get busy, and eventually what's going to happen is you'll start with one and you'll end up with 9. So we want that attorney to be able to handle 9 short sales or 10 short sales. One, anybody can do. He can just hand it off to somebody in his office and say, okay, you take care of this. It would also be helpful if someone in the title company that we're working with that attorney, if they understand how to process short sales. I'm not saying negotiate, I'm saying process them. So that would be a plus. But most importantly is the attorney, he needs to own the title company. That's the most important thing. Okay, so let's see what the next slide says. Before we go any further, anybody have any questions on the attorney? It sounds like I'm pretty picky and I don't always get what I want, but at least I know what I want. So Yeah, it's a good idea that you know what you want. Anybody have any questions about this? I'll go to the next slide. Let's go. Now, I might have to move this over there because I can't read it. Okay. Other pieces of the puzzle. Real estate broker, real estate agent. Real estate agents love short sales because everybody has to do something. The seller has to sell. The buyer is going to buy and he's going to get himself a deal, and the lender wants to get rid of this thing. So a real estate agent or a broker gets, I'm not going to say a free commission because you're going to earn it. I know it doesn't sound like it yet, but when you're in the trenches with me doing your real estate thing, some of it's going to feel like work, and that's too bad. But a real estate broker gets paid. And that's one of the things that they like about doing short sales. All right, broker. Nice hat. You missed the first webinar. Okay. So don't give me anything about the hat. Sorry. Yeah. Broker loves when agents do it for. Yeah. That's the great thing about being a real estate broker. But anyways, real estate broker agent, you're going to get paid, but when it push comes to shove and we're getting ready to close and we're $500 off, know this, that the bank is going to come after your commission. That's the first thing. That's the lowest hanging fruit for the lender to try to recoup that $500 that we're off on. Okay. It just happens that way. I'm sorry about it, but that's just the way it goes. To stop the bank from coming from the commission. No. To answer your question, no, the bank is going to come after you because when you think about it, what else is there? Is he going to come after the insurance company's proceeds for the insurance? Will he try to come after the title policy? He might. They might try to come after the attorney, but generally the attorneys are the last guys that get their fees ticked. Now, a lot of times when I'm working on short sales, I will have the attorney understand that we may have to take a little bit of his fee, but that's okay sometimes because the attorneys that I work with that do this, they make a lot of money on these things. You make a lot of money. And if I have to ask them to chop something off just to save the broker a little bit, I will. But know this, the broker's fee is first target. Next, the other piece of the puzzle, the short sale processor. The processor does exactly that. They process the short sales. And as we get into this, probably in 2 weeks, I'll be going over the documents that are necessary and the things that the processor has to do. Some of you probably realize it's just a real estate transaction. It's just a closing. But there's more documentation from the homeowner that has to be delivered to the bank. And I can't tell you how many times the bank, we send them stuff. This is back in the day, we're doing them by fax. And they say, we didn't get it. Well, we got it doesn't matter. If they didn't get it, they didn't get it. You got to resend it. Well, if you resend it 9 times already, you're going to get fed up. But I'm sorry. That's just the way this goes. But a short sale processor is a very important cog in this wheel. They have to know what's going on. They're in constant contact with the homeowners, the real estate agent, and the bank. So the processor is a very important cog. The next piece of the puzzle that we're going to talk about today, the short sale negotiator. Whenever I'm involved in a short sale, I am the negotiator. I don't want anybody else to negotiate for me. And I think there's probably other people in the group, if not in the county, in the state, whatever, that feels like they're pretty good at negotiating. If they want to do a negotiating on a short sale, they got to do their own short sale because I'm doing it. I'm making sure, because if I'm going to be the one on the line, I'm running this whole show, then I'm going to be the negotiator. Now, some of you might be thinking, wow, that's pretty ballsy, Rich. And I'll say, yeah, it is. But I probably have more experience than anybody that you know regarding short sales. My numbers are about 75%, which is obviously not 100, but most people that submit short sales, they're only accepted 30, 35% of the time. I force the bank to consider my number. I force the bank to understand. And there's a part of my short sale training that I call Rich's secret sauce. And I've never told anybody about it. If you're doing a short sale with me, you'll learn it just by osmosis because we're going to be together. But I don't like to tell people about my secret sauce because I don't want anybody to get better than me because I'm good at this. So the reason I want to be the negotiator is because I'm good. And I don't want to negotiate somebody else's short sale. I say my short sale. The best way to work short sales is to run your own short sale business. Now you say, how do I do that? The way you run your own short sale business is you get people together, like some of you might be able to witness that I'm trying to do, to try to work LPs. Now, for those of you that don't know, an LP is a lis penens, and that's the first indication of a foreclosure. That I'm going to get to these questions in a minute. It's the first indication of a foreclosure. So every short sale I've ever done, the property's in foreclosure. You have to have that pressure. The pressure's on the bank. The pressure's on the homeowner. You have to have that pressure. So the LP is the first indication of that pressure bringing itself to bear. So in a perfect world, you put together a team of 5 people. They go out and they visit every single show, every single lis penens that's filed. You knock on the door. Of course, there's some pre-work you have to do. Number 1, you have to understand what you're doing and have a good preparation. Number 2, you have to know what to bring with you. And it's very, very important that you know. Because if you know, it's going to be easy. If you don't know, you're going to be chasing your tail. So you set up your own short sale business. You get your own LP from your own LP finders. You pay them something. You get your own broker. You get to list the house. Your broker lists the house for you. You get to talk to the homeowner with the broker. So everybody gets to the warm and fuzzies. So, but it all starts with the LP. But I'm suggesting that you run your own short sale business. It doesn't take any money. It just takes a little bit of gumption and a little bit of know-how. And I can give you all that. I can teach you all that. So, okay, before I move on, let me answer or try to answer some of the questions we've got. Okay, so Susan, okay, here's somebody writing. Susan, there are different county requirements in Florida you may need to do their training. Each county costs money to be a process. That's a process server. You have to pay. Okay, I'm a broker if anybody needs a broker. Okay, well done. I thought there was another question. Oh, damn. Oh, how do you become a short sale processor? Well, I don't believe there's really any training other than getting your fingernails dirty. You're going to have to do it. Now, there's a company in Tampa who prides herself on being a short sale processor. I don't know if you could call them and find out if you could sit with them for a day. It's not that difficult once you get it. You'll pick up all the traits that you need from here. Beth Moreno working on your first short sale. Great. Wonderful. Happy to hear it. But you need to have some time in the trenches to set up your own business. So, I mean, I can help you do it. Ivanhoe can help you do it. Jose can help you do it if you're down south. But if you really want to consider putting together something on your own, spend some more time on this. Watch this tape again. Stay in touch with me. Go on my website, pofsk.com. I got lots and lots of stuff about short sales. But in the meantime, let's go on and see if you're still interested after a few minutes, right? Let's see. Here we go. Okay, so here's the rest of the story. All those people are necessary, as are these following 3. The investor. When I run my own short sales, the first offer is going to come from me because that's where I'm going to make my money. I want to make the offer to the bank. And I want to be the one to communicate it with them. And I want to be the one to try to get them to accept it. I don't want anybody else to do that. Now, are there times that I don't want it? No. But are there times that it just won't go together? Whatever, the cash flow isn't working out. I'm not ready that month, whatever it is. Do we bring people in that want to buy from the outside? Sure. Sure, I'll do it. But if you want to become one of my investors that buys my short sales, it's going to cost you. It's not something I give away for free. And when you start getting your finger on the pulse of deals that you can buy without competition, and you'll buy them for 45 cents on the dollar, you're not going to want to give that away for free. We're going to exchange something. You own a restaurant? I'll take some free meals. Whatever the case may be. You're not getting it for free. I worked too hard to get here. And you're going to feel the same way. The homeowner. The homeowner is a very important cog in this whole menagerie. The reason they're so important is, number 1, they're the one that has to sign off. They have to sign off on the short sale. It's not going to cost them any money. As a matter of fact, if we do this thing right, we'll be able to get them a couple grand, 5-6 grand to move into their next house, first, last, and security, something to give them a chance at getting their life back to normal. That's the homeowner. The most important thing about that homeowner is that they're agreeable to what we're doing. If we go into the short sale and the homeowner starts to fight us, like when I'll do the initial interview, or you'll do the initial interview, if that homeowner is fighting you in any way, I'm sorry, Mr. Brown, I just don't think your property is going to qualify for a short sale, because it's not. Because these are only preliminary questions that I'm asking you, and you're already fighting with me. We can't have that. You and I have to be on the same side. So that's a very important piece, and you'll pick that up. You'll learn to pick that up when you're doing your initial interview. If you do something with me and I'll do the initial interview, you'll come along. You'll listen and witness it. And then after we're done, I'll tell you, did you see when the wife did this? Well, we knew at that time that she's on our side. She's ready to go, but the husband is going to push against us the whole time. I think we need to reconsider our interest in this. Okay, Grisha has a question. Let's hear it, honey.
Just a quick question. If the homeowner has to sign off on everything, how are you being the negotiator? You can be the negotiator between the seller and the bank, or do you get some kind of, something signed over, or power of attorney or something to do that?
Wow, that's a very good question. I'm so surprised that I didn't say anything about that. I know sometimes I just I'm sorry, but that's a great question. So I'm going to be the negotiator. So I'm going to be the one to take the offer and submit it to the bank. I'm not going to email it to them, but I'm going to be the one to talk about it with the lender. I'm going to convince them to see it my way. And generally I'm not going to say it's easy, but some lenders are going to be easier than others. For example, let's say I'm dealing with Bank of America. And I'm working on this short sale. We're getting all our documents together. We have our offer, and we're getting ready to submit the short sale offer to the lender. 2 weeks before that, I'm going to spend a couple hours on my computer, and I'm going to be looking. Now, listen to this. I'm going to be looking for foreclosure sale results in which the bank that I'm dealing with was the plaintiff. Now you say to yourself, Rich, why am I going to look for the bank and see when they were the plaintiff? Well, if you've never bought or purchased a foreclosure, there are things called discounts. I know. What happens in a discount is when the final judgment, the plaintiff decides to offer the property for less than the final judgment amount. That's called a discount. You don't get that information unless you're at the sale. You don't get it unless you're there all the time. It's something you have to look for. But what I will do, if my Bank of America is my lender, I'm going to go see what their record of offering discounts on foreclosures in the particular county that we're in is. I want to know, are they discounting 5%? So how much? Are they discounting 10% of the properties that bring to sale? If so, how much are they discounting? So I'm going to build my case against the lender based on their own history. Also, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take REOs. I'll go back to the foreclosure sale. If we're going to negotiate a sale tomorrow, I'll go back 6 months and see how many properties the Bank of America had to take back at the sale. Now, in a perfect world, they took back 25. So in other words, they prevailed at the sale as the plaintiff. I want to see how many times, 25 times. So they prevailed 25 times over the last 6 months. How many properties have they been able to sell? And if they sold them, what did they sell them for? And who did they sell them to? They sell them to an end user? Did they sell it retail? Did they sell it to an investor? I want to know all I can about that lender, because I'm going to use their own sales results or their own business practices against them. So that's just one of the reasons I want to do my own negotiating. So let me see. I think Grisha, that was a great question.
How do you get them to talk to you, though?
How do I get who to talk to me?
I think you lost me, though. How do you get them to actually talk to you? Like, how the bank?
Oh, okay. Well, how do I get the bank to talk to me? Well, essentially, before we get started, the bank, let me go back. When I interview the homeowner, the first thing I have to find out is if they have exited that bank's loss mitigation program yet. Now, all of you know that a short sale is so because the property, the homeowner owes more on the property than it's worth. They owe 150, it's worth 100, we got a problem. The only person that can help us is the lender with a short sale. So I want to make sure that the borrower has gone through the lender's loss mitigation program. And if they have, the bank understands there's no way to mitigate upside down. No way to mitigate it. It's either going to go to the sale or it's going to go short. What happens is I get an authorization to release. That's a document. It's in one of the next trainings or somewhere. I get an authorization to release signed by the homeowner. And what that says is the homeowner says, I authorize Richard Meyer or whoever to talk to my lender about my mortgage situation. Now, generally, it'll have the name of the processor on it. The short sale processor. It'll have the name of the negotiator. It'll have the name of the real estate agent on there, because if we don't want anything to get held up because the bank doesn't want to talk to you because your name isn't on the document that they need to see. So, Grisha, I hope I answered your question. During my initial interview,
So they got to be out of the loss mitigation part of it. And where do you get this authorization to release form? Is it a bank form that they give you, or?
no, the authorization to release is a form that I have. Everybody has it. And anybody that does this have them. And you send it to the lender and you get authorization to talk, and then you call them up. But the homeowner having exited the loss mitigation program is important, but it's more important that you understand the fact that if you're upside down, there's no loss mitigation that they're going to be able to do. So if I go to the homeowner and they say, yes, I've exited the program, and here's the phone number to follow up with the bank, I'll take it, give me the authorization, boom, and we'll start. If they haven't exited yet, after I get the authorization to release, I'll find out from the bank if it's required that the homeowner exit that program first, or can we go straight to short sale? That's what I want to know. Now, when I get the authorization to short sale, we don't have any contracts yet. The bank hasn't done their own BPO. They haven't done anything yet. So this is the initial stage. Here's my authorization to release. Do we have your permission to look to try to do a short sale? And if the bank comes back affirmative, the first thing we have to do is list that house. We have to list that house because the bank won't look at an offer for 2 weeks. Now, 2 weeks in the overall scheme of things is really nothing. I mean, I can shave every 2 weeks, but it has to be listed for at least 2 weeks before we can submit an offer. So, Grisha, I'm hopeful that I answered your question with that little spiel.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, all right, well done. Okay, let me see if I have any other questions up here before I continue. Okay, maybe I do. Okay. I'm working on my short sale right now. My role is one of an agent. That's Beth, I think. Okay, Beth, make sure who's ever running your short sale knows what they're doing, or you're wasting your time. If this is the one that you and I spoke about a couple of months ago, you're wasting your time. Okay, Jose Suarez, are any types of loans off limits like FHA, etc.? It depends on the bank. It depends on the type of insurance the bank has. For example, there'll be some conventional loans where the bank will refuse to do a short sale. And no matter what you do, you can't get them to come to your side. Ultimately, what happened in the case I'm referring to is the banks get insurance on every loan that they put out. If it's a conforming loan, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, they get insurance. They get insurance generally for about 50% of the principal amount. And in some cases, as it was in this case, the bank had to suffer a loss in order to make a claim on the insurance. And this is way beyond the bounds of what we're talking about. And thanks, Jose, for bringing it up. But the point is that sometimes the bank will say no to you and you don't know the reason. Sometimes it'll be because it's FHA, VA. Sometimes it'll be because the investor doesn't want to do it. So either way, to those lenders, I say, c'est la vie, see you at the sale, babe, because that's all you're going to get. Okay, let's see. I don't think I have too much more. Let's see. Let's see. So the investor, I think you guys heard me. I went on a pretty self-absorbed rant on that one. The homeowner, we're going to try to get them some money to get out of there. And the lender, we're going to do our best to beat the living hay out of them. The lender's the one that can afford it. Let them pay. And I hope they get a copy of this before I present my next short sale. That'll be fun. Okay, so let's see. Where's my tabs? Okay, that's my contact information. If anybody wants to learn anything else about what I do, go to my website. Make sure you go to the website and sign up. Is my website even on there? Hold on. Oh yeah, there it is at the top. Okay. Go to the website if you want to get some more emails, you want to be the first one to know when something's coming out about a free webinar or something, go to the website, sign up, make sure I have your email address. If you want private lessons, just send me an email or send an email to Ivanhoe or to Jose. I'll make sure that their contact information is in the link when I record this and I send it back to you. Are there any other questions? I know I went fast. That's just the way I do stuff. I'm sorry.
Hey, Rich, I got a question.
Yes, Rick.
All right, if you're like, since I'm an agent, let's say I get into find an LP and I'm gonna do a short sale. Like you're
I'm
saying,
sorry, you said you're a what?
I said I'm an agent, right?
An agent, okay.
If I find a property and I end up doing a short sale with the owners or whatever. You were saying about the negotiation part, right? Like
Yes.
you would always want to be the negotiator on your deal. So in my case, I would be the negotiator for my deal. But let's say I wanted to bring an outside negotiator, maybe somebody like you, who's have that experience to do that. Would an agent still be able to do that? Or would the agent just have to take the lead and negotiate that deal themselves?
Rick, that's a great question, because even though I suggest that you set up your own short sale business looking for properties that are upside down, sometimes a real estate agent will just bump into one. And if you're the agent, you're the first person to make contact with that homeowner, you've got a leg up on everybody else, because the homeowner has got to trust you at least a certain extent, because they got you to list their house. They trust you for that. Unless you screw up, they're going to trust you for more stuff. If you're not qualified to do a short sale, either a processor or a short sale negotiator, don't do it. You could Google it and you can find any idiot that calls himself that, or you could call me up or call Ivanhoe. I'm sure he knows some other people. But if you want, you can't lose if you're going to bring me in to negotiate, because if you can get a discount and get this thing closed, I'll get it done. But processors, there are people that can process. There's even people in our group that either want to be processors or are right now real estate transaction coordinators. Those types are perfect to be a transaction, whatever I said they were. a processor. Yeah, the processor. Okay, sorry.
Gotcha. Right. Well, my wife's a PT too, so she does already title work for Hilton and all this shit.
Yeah, so if you know someone that can process, that's good. But the key to this whole bag is negotiating, because if you're soft or you don't know where you can press or how hard you can press, or you don't know what you have to prove to the bank to make them take the haircut, you're wasting your time. And as we get on in this training, you'll understand that not every property is going to qualify. You're going to go out to a house and it's going to be gorgeous. I got bad news for you, babe. The bank is going to want to take that to sale and take their chances with the investor. Let somebody buy it at the sale or take it back and retail it themselves. Because in order for the bank to go short sale, there's got to be something that the bank doesn't like about the house. There's got to be something they don't like, or a challenge that they don't want to take on. So that's us. That's what we do. That's what short sales are for. And that's why investors do that. And during the last big wig of short sales, I started short sales back in 2004 in Ohio, because the market sunk there faster earlier. And when I was doing it there, the bank had no idea what they were doing. It was a pain in the butt. And sometimes your buyers would have to wait around for 6 months to get something closed. Nowadays, they're much better. But the reason I brought that up is there was nobody that did short sale processing and nobody did short sale negotiating. So I figured I'd fill the niche. I would do that for people. But the real people that made the money were the investors. The guys that came in and made the offers on the short sale, they made buku bucks, because they're standing there buying houses at 40 cents with no competition. Sure, you have to close in 2 weeks or 3 weeks and you have to have cash, but so what? Rick, I got news for you. If you put out an email to every single person that gets information from you that says, if you want to buy a house for 40 cents on the dollar and you need cash, start lining it up. How long do you think that line would be from here to New Jersey? Yeah. Because if you got deals for 40 cents, everybody's going to do anything they can to get there. That's why I like running them myself, because I can keep those buyers out and I can get them myself. Now, as an agent, if you list the house, you're not going to want to buy it because it's going to be a conflict, but you got friends that you could do work with. You know what I mean? It's not a conflict of interest to have another corporation buy something, or I'm sure that we know people, and I'm not going to mention names, that'll be happy to work with you. So let me see. I went back to the beginning screen just to see if I can jog anybody's memory of a question. So Rick, thanks. That was a good question, Ben. All right, let me go to the chat and see. Okay. Let me go to the top. How would one become processor? Okay, any different processor. Okay, that's a process server, not a closing process, short sale processor. There, she's doing it for us. Any types of loan? Is it easier to buy defaulted mortgage? Ooh, Acadian. That's a good question. But in my mind, in my experience, the bank is going to short sell it before they're going to sell that loan. Because in order for banks to sell defaulted mortgages, they really have to have problems. They really have to have problems with the borrower. And unfortunately for us, those problems will transfer to the short sale. So if there's someone that's a problem mortgagor, and we're trying to deal with them as a homeowner, they're going to be a pain in the ass. But for a particular LP that gets filed, they'd rather do a short sale. And the reason I think that's true, as we're talking this through, because they wouldn't have filed the LP if they wanted to sell the mortgage. They would have put it down to their department that sells mortgages and said, listen, let's off this thing. Because a lot of note buyers don't want to buy mortgages that have foreclosures already started. Some do, but if I'm a mortgage holder and I want to sell a mortgage, I'm going to put it up for sale before I file the LP. So I'm going to suggest that just because they filed the LP, they're more interested in taking it to sale and doing a short sale than they are selling that mortgage. But it's definitely something that you need to look at. And now that we're on the topic, if you want to make an offer for a mortgage that's going to sale, look for private lenders. Private lenders. I knew a guy by the name of Nick who loaned money down in Broward County, and he'd file a lawsuit, but he'd never end up being the plaintiff at the end, because he ended up offing his position and selling it to some other investor. So if you want to buy the mortgage of a defaulted mortgage that's going to sale, make an offer to a private lender, not the big banks. We can talk about that another day. Okay, can I find a generic authorization to release form online? I bet you could. I bet you could. And you know what, Grisha, if you go ahead and look in cases that are foreclosures, you might find one in there. You might find one in there, because in some cases, the authorization, for example, in order to convince a judge maybe to slow things down, you got to prove to them that you're trying hard, and one authorization might be in a court file, maybe not. But I bet you can find a generic. I know where you could find one is if you went out to the library. I know in Brevard County, but the Orange County Library, the public library, they have forms for legal things. You might find one there. I was surprised at all the stuff I found. But if you ask me nice, I can send you one. Isn't that easier, right? Just ask me nice. Please send me. Okay, sure, I'll do it. But if you remind me, I'll send you one after we're done. Okay, let's see. Actually, you best be figuring this out. Okay, Ashley. Oh, that's you.
I asked, I put
okay.
it, we can work with you.
Oh, so this lots of, because you guys work together. Okay, that's cool. Can we joint venture? Sure. Sure. Like I said, I'm trying to build an army, and I've been trying to build this army for some time for people that will go out and do the work of a younger man or a younger woman. I'm not that. I mean, I'll go out to the house with you once or twice. I know Ivanhoe said he'll go out once or twice, but I don't want to be the guy that goes out every weekend and knocks on the door. I'm too old for that. I got other stuff I got to take care of, and I got to maintain stuff by now. But I need some young kids. And you know what I do is every time I have somebody knock at my door and they say, yeah, we noticed from the road that you need a new roof. No, I don't. But anyways, have you thought about getting your real estate license? You know, anybody that pitches me in the mall, you know, they get everybody that's walking by and they try to sell them perfume. I got a card that says, get your license. I'll teach you how to make real money. Oh, excuse me. Let me get a drink. And in the meantime, while you're waiting for your license
Old
to
and
go
they see
through,
wise compared to seeing
I'm sorry.
somebody young. I
In
said
the-
people see old and they see wise. So it's a good thing when they see
Thank you.
you at their door compared to seeing me, who I look 15 at the door. They're gonna be like, what does this girl know about saving me, my house, my life?
Right, but that's okay because we'll teach you what to say where they can't argue with you. But yes, old is wisdom in my case. Let me tell you something. Every lesson I learned by costing me money. So that's how I learned them good. Anyways, before that person that tries to sell me perfume in the mall wants to get their license, I'll send them out. Come over to my house. Let's meet at Winn-Dixie or someplace. I'll teach you what to say. We'll go out the first time together. And if they work out, great. If they don't, listen, I didn't lose nothing. So you guys that have a little more energy than I do, you can start doing that. You can recruit your own little team of guys that don't be afraid because they're going to turn over quick. They don't last in that, I don't think. But the point is that I think that it's a good idea to run your own short sale business rather than take up somebody else's short sale. All right, let me see what else we got. Gen 2. Okay.
Oh,
Well, I got a lot of people leaving. Sorry. I hope everything was good. Meant to say bring an investor and buyer, same thing. Okay. Can we wholesale short sale properties and bring in the end buyer yourself? When you put the property up for sale, the bank is going to insist that you put it up for market value. All right, I'll do it. And we put it up, it's worth 100. The bank is owed 150. You think the bank's going to be happy with that $100,000 listing? No, they're not. But we got comps. I got an active depending ratio that says this house worth 100,000. I don't care what you're owed, and I especially don't care what you think. We put it up for sale for 100,000. It has to sit there for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, we can submit an offer. By the second week, on the day, my offer goes out. I'm ready. Now, what am I going to offer? Well, it depends on how many holes I can punch in that house. It depends on how many holes I can punch in that bank's business model of how they do things and whether or not they take discounts at sales or how they're doing when they're selling their REOs. A lot of things go into that. But can I bring the end buyer? The end buyer on my short sales, going to be me. It's going to be me because I want to be the one to make that money. I mean, the agent gets his commission and the processor gets her fee and everybody makes their little bit of money except for me. So the only time I get paid is when I'm the investor and I buy that house. So the answer, can you bring in the end buyer yourself? Damn right. And if you're smart, your buyer is you. Okay, let's see here. Here's Grisha. I think you can, but legally still has to be listed for at least 2 weeks before submitting offer to the bank. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't understand.
That was me answering Beth.
Oh.
So the question that you just answered about, can you bring in the end buyer? You said you can, but it has to be listed for at least 2 weeks minimum on the MLS, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay,
Great.
that was
Thank you.
me helping out with Beth.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Susan, you can type in agreement yourself with the owner that allows you to discuss with the bank. Yeah, it's called an authorization to release. It has a name, it has specific language. And that reminds me of a funny story. I remember back in the day when I was a young investor, I used to always sell property. I'd use a warranty deed until I learned the difference between a warranty deed and a special warranty deed. When you're an investor, when you sell the house, you always want to use a special warranty deed. There's no question. There's no legal demand. There's no pressure on anybody. It has to be an absolute. You're making a mistake if you sell with a warranty deed. The reason I'm bringing that up, I bring a warranty deed down to my attorney's office and he says, okay, it's got to be a special warranty deed. So I went back to my office. I wrote special on top of it and I went, okay, that's good. And he said, no, Rich, it's the body of the document. The body of the instrument has special language that you need. So yes, you can type it up in agreement with the owner, but you have to have something that's called authorization to release, and it has special language. Okay. Or do we have to have that? They got to be listed on MLS. Got to be. Rich, will you pretty please send me that? Yes, I will. Happy to do it. And if you can do yourself a favor by sending me an email. Because if you send me an email, I won't forget. Because today, after we're done with this, I got to download, I got to convert it, I got to send me an email. My email address is rmeyer219@gmail.com. Anybody that wants me to send them an authorization to release, send me an email. There's a lot more documents you're going to want to see as we go forward, and I'll be happy to send them to you as long as you ask, because I will forget. So send me an email, Beth, and I will remember to send it to you. rmeyer219@gmail.com. Okay, I'm looking forward to doing this with you and Ivan. Okay, again, send me an email. There we go. Rich just gave us. Rich, when you would start. Rich, when do we meet up? Will you start? I'm sorry, Grisha. You know what? There's part of my thing that doesn't allow me to read your whole question. Oh no, it's BM. Beth. Okay, so you guys are talking to each other. That's fine. I'll just forget that. Okay, that's fine. All right. So it looks like we're done. No more questions. Thanks very much, everybody, to attend. I'm going to give you one more second to ring it into a question. Ta-da! We're done. Okay, man. I'll see you next Thursday on 25 minutes, and I'll see you next Thursday on short sale at 11 o'clock. Be looking for your invitation. Thanks a lot. See you again. Bye.
Thanks, Rich.
See you, babe.
Thank you, Rich.
Thank you.